2024 was supposed to be a bad year for private capital. Global fundraising dropped 19%. Deals dried up. Mega funds stalled. And investors? They got scared. But 7,000 miles away, something strange was happening. While Wall Street panicked, Africa doubled down. And private capital fundraising on the continent didn't just hold steady, it more than doubled. From fintech in Nigeria to solar farms in Kenya, investors weren't just watching from the sidelines. They were going all in. And globally, private equity shrunk. But Africa? Deal volume jumped 8%, with nearly 500 transactions, the second highest on record. For the first time in a decade, small deals, under $50 million, accounted for more than half of Africa's total deal value. Smart money was playing small and playing local, and the money wasn't just coming from overseas. African investors increased their participation to 19%, a major sign of rising local confidence in Africa's future. The market is maturing, liquidity is rising, and strategies are diversifying beyond just trade sales. The world always talks about Africa's potential, but now it's performance. In a year when private capital fell apart everywhere else, Africa rose, quietly, steadily, and against the odds. This is how Africa became private capital's most surprising comeback story of 2024. For years, Africa's private capital market was often seen as a niche corner of global finance, growing, but still overshadowed by more established markets in Europe, the US, and Asia. Investment funds operated cautiously, raising modest sums and focusing on a handful of big projects. The continent's potential was widely acknowledged, yet its private capital scene lacked scale and consistent momentum. Global economic headwinds and uncertainty often made investors hesitant to dive deeply into Africa's diverse markets. And while local investors were active, their share of the capital landscape was relatively small. The scene was promising, but far from reaching its full potential. But then, in 2024, everything changed. In 2024, Africa's private capital market defied global trends. While worldwide private capital fundraising dropped by nearly 20%, Africa's fundraising more than doubled, soaring to $4 billion across 22 funds. This was a remarkable rebound, marking the third highest final close value in a decade. This shift signaled something important. Africa was no longer just a peripheral player. Investors seeking growth amid global uncertainty started to see the continent as a key destination for opportunity. The tides had turned, setting the stage for a new chapter in African investment. Investment activity followed suit. Deal volume increased 8% year over year, reaching 485 transactions, the second highest on record. This was largely due to a growing focus on smaller deals. For the first time in a decade, deals under $50 million accounted for more than half of the total deal value. Meanwhile, the very largest deals, those exceeding $250 million, fell dramatically, down 85%. This showed a more cautious investor approach amid ongoing macroeconomic challenges, but also highlighted a broader diversification of deal sizes, fueling the market's growth. Fundraising composition also shifted notably. Generalist funds disappeared entirely for the first time in 13 years. Instead, specialized funds took center stage. Infrastructure and private equity funds each secured around 30% of the total capital raised, roughly $1.2 billion each. This trend underscored investors' growing preference for targeted sector-specific strategies in Africa's complex markets. At the same time, local investors stepped up, increasing their commitments from 14% in 2022 to 19% in 2024, signaling a strengthening domestic investment base. Exit activity rebounded strongly as well. Exits increased 47% year over year, with 63 recorded transactions, the second highest volume ever for Africa. Sales to trade buyers remained the dominant exit route at 41%, though this was down from 48% in 2022, reflecting a broader range of exit strategies emerging. This uptick in exits demonstrated growing pressure from limited partners for liquidity, but also the maturation of Africa's private capital market, with more diverse and dynamic exit opportunities becoming available. At its peak in 2024, Africa's private capital landscape was transforming into a resilient, evolving market, one that no longer simply followed global trends but carved its own path. Fundraising hit record levels, deal activity surged in volume, specialized funds dominated the landscape, and local investors took on a larger role. The market was simultaneously growing in size, complexity, and sophistication. Africa was proving itself as a key frontier for private capital, attracting investors hungry for growth amid global uncertainty and building a robust, maturing ecosystem that promised to reshape the continent's economic future. Looking ahead, Africa's private capital market stands at an inflection point. The momentum of 2024 shows that the continent can withstand global shocks and continue to attract diverse investment. But challenges remain, large deals remain scarce, and investors are still navigating economic headwinds. Still, with growing local participation, specialized funds targeting high-impact sectors, and increasing exit opportunities, Africa's private capital landscape is more dynamic and promising than ever. The story of 2024 is one of resilience and transformation, and the journey is only just beginning. Follow us at Spotlight in Africa to stay ahead of the story.